Welcome back to our V News, your trusted source for the latest and most in-depth coverage of the Iraqi Dinar, Vietnamese Dong, and global currency revaluation developments. If you're here, you already know this channel is where we go beyond the headlines, dig deep into the facts, analyze credible intel, and bring you the latest updates from boots on the ground, banking insiders, and trusted community leaders. If you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and join our growing family of RV watchers and truth seekers. Today's story is nothing short of groundbreaking, and it comes from none other than one of the most respected figures in the dinar community, Frank26. Yes, you heard that right. Frank26 himself has reportedly taken IQD to a U.S. bank and successfully converted it to USD. This has sent shockwaves through the RV world, because if confirmed, this could signal that the revaluation process is not just close, it may already be quietly underway. The story began circulating late last night when sources close to Frank26 shared that he had conducted a bank visit to test the waters on IQD redemption. For years, many have speculated about the exact process, exchange rates, and timelines. But this report is different because it comes with direct eyewitness accounts from people who were present in the branch during the transaction. While we're still verifying certain details, multiple individuals have confirmed seeing IQD physically presented, verified by the bank, and converted into USD at a rate that was far above the long-standing program rate. This is huge because it challenges the belief that all U.S. banks are still locked into the pre-RV rate of around $0.0068 per dinar. If this is true, it means at least some institutions now have access to a live, updated rate, and that's a game changer. Now, before we get swept away in excitement, let's break down what this could mean. For years, the IQD community has been told that banks would not process revalued rates until the official public release, sometimes referred to as the international rate going live. But if a high-profile community leader like Frank26 was able to conduct such a transaction, it suggests that either Tier 4B exchanges have started quietly behind the scenes, or select accounts and individuals are being used to test the exchange system prior to a full rollout. This is not unusual in the financial world. Banks often run pilot programs, dry runs, or limited scope transactions to ensure systems are functioning before they go fully public. If you followed the RV news closely, you'll know that this kind of in-bank testing has been whispered about for months, but now we may have our first solid proof. Frank26's long-standing reputation in the IQD community makes this even more significant. He has been known for carefully vetting intel, using confirmed Iraqi sources, and avoiding unfounded rumors. Over the years, he's built a large audience that trusts him to present factual, well-researched updates. So, if he's allowing this story to be shared, it likely means he's confident in its authenticity. One of the witnesses reportedly claimed that the bank teller processed the IQD as a foreign currency deposit, but the rate applied was shockingly high, somewhere in the multiple dollar range per dinar. While the exact figure is still being kept private, the source hinted it was enough to make the transaction life-changing for most holders. This is where the speculation takes off. Was this a special contract rate offered to a connected client? Was this a bank quietly testing the RV rates on live transactions? Or is it possible that the revaluation has already quietly launched, and we're only now seeing the first signs? The implications are massive. If U.S. banks now have access to these updated rates, it could mean the green light has already been given from the Central Bank of Iraq and coordinated with the U.S. Treasury. Remember, for years, insiders have explained that this event is not simply about Iraq deciding to raise its currency value. It's part of a larger, globally coordinated financial reset that involves multiple nations, banking systems, and political agreements. If this quiet transaction at a U.S. bank is real, then we could be in the earliest stages of a phased RV rollout. First, key insiders and connected individuals are allowed to process exchanges under strict NDAs, testing systems, and providing feedback. Then, within days or weeks, the rate goes fully public and Tier 4B appointments begin in earnest. Let's Also, remember that Iraq has been preparing for this moment for months. Over the past year, the Central Bank of Iraq has made major moves, reducing the money supply, printing new lower denomination notes, updating their digital payment systems, linking their banking infrastructure with global SWIFT systems, and publicly stating their intent to strengthen the dinar. Just last month, Iraqi officials confirmed that they had completed all technical requirements for currency reform. We also saw a spike in banking meetings between Iraq, the IMF, and the U.S. Treasury. Every piece of the puzzle has been sliding into place. And now we get this news that a major community figure has actually completed a conversion at a live, revalued rate. You can see why the RV world is buzzing. Skeptics, of course, are already raising questions. They point out that without official documentation or a public statement from the bank, we have to be cautious. They also note that banks can sometimes make internal adjustments or one-off transactions for special clients that don't reflect the general market rate. And that's true. But here's the thing. Banks don't just make up exchange rates for foreign currencies without official backing. Any such transaction would have to be supported by the bank's foreign currency department, and in many cases, confirmed through centralized rate systems connected to the Federal Reserve and Treasury. That means if this happened, there is an official rate in the system somewhere that's far higher than what's publicly posted. And if that's the case, the floodgates could open very soon. The psychological impact on the dinar community cannot be overstated. For years, many have held on through skepticism, delays, and countless false alarm moments. To hear that one of their own, someone respected and trusted, has actually walked into a bank and walked out with USD from an IQD exchange at a life-changing rate, reignites hope in a way no rumor or anonymous tip ever could. People are already speculating about when they might get their turn, whether they should rush to their bank or wait for the official Tier 4B notifications. And here's where I have to give a word of caution. Don't jump the gun. As exciting as this is, it's not yet clear whether all banks are participating, whether all account holders will be eligible, or whether special conditions apply. Running to your bank with your IQD right now could lead to frustration if your branch hasn't been activated yet. Instead, this is the moment to prepare. If you haven't already, make sure you have your currency organized, documented, and ready for presentation. Know the procedures you plan to follow, whether you're going to a standard bank branch, a designated redemption center, or a private appointment. Have your identification, proof of purchase, and any trust or asset protection documents ready to go. The smarter and more organized you are, the smoother your exchange will be when the time comes. And if the Frank26 transaction truly represents the start of the public phase, your time may be much closer than you think. The geopolitical backdrop is also worth noting. Iraq's oil exports have been strong, and they've been making deals that bypass the US dollar in regional trade, a sign of growing economic independence. At the same time, the US has been quietly supportive of Iraq's currency reform, even if not publicly announcing it. There's also the growing global trend toward de-dollarization and diversification of currency reserves, which makes a stronger dinar not only possible but strategically valuable. The Vietnamese dong, often mentioned alongside the IQD and RV circles, has also been in the spotlight lately, with some reports suggesting Vietnam is preparing for its own rate adjustment. Could we be seeing the first domino fall with Iraq, followed closely by Vietnam? It's a real possibility. Frank26 himself has not yet gone public with every detail, but his tone in recent communications has shifted noticeably. He's been more confident, more forward-leaning in his language, and less cautious about hinting that it's happening now. For those who have followed him for years, you know that's not something he does lightly. It suggests that he's either under NDA and carefully choosing his words, or that he knows the full public release is imminent, so he's speaking more freely. Either way, this is one of the most encouraging signs we've seen in years. The banking side of this is equally fascinating. If a U.S. bank processed this exchange, it means the bank has live access to the new IQD rate on their internal foreign currency platform. This rate would be tied directly to the CBI's updated posting, which in turn is linked to global forex feeds. Once a bank's internal system reflects a new rate, it's only a matter of time before that rate becomes visible to the public. The only reason for a delay would be controlled rollout procedures, often done to avoid overwhelming bank staff or triggering chaotic rushes by the public. That's why these early, quiet exchanges may be happening, to ensure that when the floodgates open, Eve